All right, everyone, welcome, welcome, welcome. It's my pleasure to once again introduce my sponsor, the one, the myth, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Elgin Walker. Elgin, thank you for coming on. And I'm just going to let you take it and take the ball and run with it. I might pop in every once in a while and ask some questions. If you guys have questions, I'm sure he'd be happy to answer those as well, too. So, anyway. Do your thing, man. You're on.
Yes, please pop in.
Okay.
Please have questions. Please interact. All of you. Good morning to you guys. How's everybody feeling?
We're,
Good.
yeah,
There you go. That's good.
Good.
Yeah, you guys sound just really, really good. It's really good. Come on, so we're going to talk a little bit about mindsets and things like that because of I mean, hey, can you guys believe it's already May? I mean, it's like
No.
already May, 2025 May. It's like, wow. Um, that's crazy. That's crazy. Hey,
I,
so let me ask you guys a question. Um, do you think it's who thinks it's a good market right now? Who thinks it's a bad market? Who thinks?
um,
Reason why I bring that up like that though is one of the things about mindset is controlling your self-talk and your self-thoughts, right? So let me ask you a question. If in the areas that you guys work, if one house was sold and you sold that house and nobody else sold anything, to you, is it a good market or is it a bad market?
good market. Yeah.
Good market.
It's a good market, right? Right. And I'll throw the flip side of that. What if, like, all of you guys right now sold a home last week and I'm the only person that didn't sell one? Do I feel like it's a good market or a bad market? Right?
Yeah.
You control your thoughts, you control your own circumstances, you control your situation, which in doing so helps you move forward and helps you move in the direction that hopefully that you're trying to move. Your self-talk and your self-thoughts are some of the easiest things to throw you off track. And they're also the easiest things to keep you on track. Meaning this, do you say to yourself often? Now, I know you're wrong. I am like not perfect at this, and we all have our moments. We all get knocked down. The question is, how fast do you get up? Like if you're in a fight, hopefully none of us, especially me at my age, get into some kind of an altercation and you get knocked down. You better get up and you better get up really quickly. If it's nothing else but to run, you better get up because if you lay down there, odds are it's not going to get better, right? Every day in the business that we've chosen to be in, there are going to be some things that rock us, knock us down, or we don't feel like it, whatever the case may be. How you react to that, a lot of it is going to be what you say to yourself. Do you say to yourself, it's just another challenge? Do you say to yourself, do you ever self-talk to yourself about the good things that are going on in your business? Like, how often have you maybe took a listing or opened an escrow and your mind and your thoughts are really on the one that got away, on the one that didn't list with you, or the one that fell apart. Because remember, escrows do one of two things: they close or they fall out. Either way, you need another one, right? But how many times do we talk about and focus about the negative one? How do we'll focus on that, and then yet we not celebrate to ourselves the things that we're doing that are working. And even if they're little things meaning that you've you have a relationship with a past client or a business partner or an affiliate, whatever the case may be, but you're strengthening that relationship. Is that a win? Of course it is. It may not have came to monetary value to you then at that particular moment, but possibly will it? Possibly will it get you a referral? Does it mean that you're working and doing things in a positive manner, taking yourself to a certain level that you want to get to versus I'm not gonna make my calls today because nobody's listening to something. Nobody's buying nothing because the interest rate's high. Nobody's, doing anything because of whatever the reason is, and you talk yourself and you're talking yourself into a bad circumstance. And we all do this. I do it. I catch myself. I try not to do it often. But I believe for even me personally, there are moments to pretty much every day. I just try to limit the moments. But there are certain moments, in your head, you're in your head. You're in your own head, and you're like, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. And then all of a sudden, though, the more you do that, it's like you're burying yourself. It's hard to come out. It's hard to get yourself on the right track. So here's a couple of things, though, that we've been talking about in some other groups. And I think that there's a big difference between awareness and focus. I think that you need to have both, though. So what do I mean by awareness? What I mean by awareness is you kind of have to know what's going on in the market. You kind of need to know what buyers and sellers are feeling. You kind of need to know what a consumer sentiment is. You kind of need to know things that are going on. But realistically, those aren't things that you can focus on because those aren't things that are in your control. Now, you have to be aware because, one, you have to adjust your business to things that are happening. And number two is you have to be aware because your public, your clients, your business partner are aware of certain things, right? I mean, obviously everybody talks about tariffs and talks about this and there's that and all this stuff that's going on, right? But realistically, what can Elgin do about a tariff? I still got to sell a house, dude. I still got to sell a house, right? What can you do about the lack of insurance in the state? What can you do about there's all this? Can any of you guys change the interest rate tomorrow? I mean, there's nothing that you can do, but should you be aware of those things? Oh, absolutely. You have to be aware of them because the people that you're trying to help are aware and are looking at that, but you can't focus on that. What you have to do is know, be aware, but then you have to narrow yourself down into focusing on what you need to do to keep growing your business, to keep helping people, to keep helping families. You know that the interest rates are higher than what they were. But then for those people like myself and Rodney is one of the few people I know. I think Rodney's had his license about a day and a half longer than me, maybe. Real remember when the interest rates were so much higher. I believe that in the years that I've been doing this, if you were to average out where the interest rates have been in the 37 years, the 37 years I've been doing this, is they've been averaging between 6 and 8%. That's what they've averaged over my time frame. Somewhere in that ballpark. I still remember when they went down to 8%, and we had an office meeting about how great the market was going to be, and it was fantastic. When we bought our first house, some of you guys have heard me say this, that the rate was 14%, and we bought it down to 12.5%. And we thought just how great of a rate we had. So I actually share these stories with some of the clients that we have. And I'll say little things like, I don't have a whole lot of sympathy for you because you got to have a 6% interest rate. In a joking manner, of course, because it could be so much worse. You still need to buy a home. And there's still things that we can do. We can focus on helping them and talk about buy downs. We can talk about sellers helping with closing costs. We can talk about solutions and we focus on the things that we need to focus on to help our clientele move forward. You don't want to get, in my opinion, you don't want to get caught up in your clients and just talking about the problems and or perceived problems and or stuff that none of us could have any control with. You have a person that needs to sell their home. The conversation should not be about everything that's going on in the world. The conversation needs to be about what you can do to help them with their problem and their situation. The focus needs to be, in my opinion, if someone is selling their home right now, is what is their motivation? Now, I know we always say what is someone's motivation, but let's face it, particularly if you've been in business 10 years or less and or understand the market. I mean, if even if they did everything wrong and listed a house, eventually it was selling. They did everything wrong. It doesn't look as well as it possibly could. It's not priced as well as it possibly should be. So that one might take a little longer to sell than the others, right? But it would sell. Well, guess what? We're in a market right now where, I mean, the inventory has crept up. Now, is it really high? No. But is it higher than it was? Sure. Are the rates high? No. But are they higher than they were? Yes. All that being said and done, that just means I want to make sure, particularly in a seller situation, that I'm committed to someone that really needs to sell and vice versa. It's almost like, you're now you now were with certain sellers, you were dating them for a certain period of time, a really quick period. Now you got sellers that you're married to. You're gonna be married to them for a minute because it might take a little bit longer to sell. So maybe these are things that you expectations you give your clients up front, that you stay mentally focused on what the circumstances or what the situation is. One of the things that helps me is time blocking. How many of you guys time block your activities? I mean, like honestly, time blocking. So if you're not doing that, that's one of the first things I would suggest that you do. And I'll tell you, I did something years ago. A lot of trainers would tell us to do this thing, and that is, I would challenge you guys to, for 1 week, actually write down everything you do the time that you're working in real estate. I mean, everything. Now, you don't have to micromanage it, but I mean, like, I'm not saying that you have to, like, okay, I went to the bathroom between 10 and 10:15. I'm not saying that, right? But what I am saying is that you say, I'm working 8 hours today. And you say you're going to talk to people, you're going to door knock, you're going to do a social media post, whatever it is that you're going to do. I would challenge you for a week to actually write down what you do during your workday. You're going to be surprised at how your 8-hour workday is probably filled with 2 hours of meaningful work that helps you, your business, and your clients. Then I would challenge you one step further is to ask yourself, whatever your goal is of whatever it is that you are trying to achieve. Maybe you're trying to make 100 grand. Maybe you're trying to make 500 grand. Maybe you're trying to make 50 grand annually. I don't know, whatever your monetary goal is, because we all have other goals besides that, obviously. But I would ask you to challenge yourself and say, based upon what I did this week, based upon what I'm doing work-wise, if I am the boss, would I pay this person $50,000 a year to do this? Would I pay this person $100,000 to do this? Would I pay this person $500,000 a year to do this that is on your schedule of what you do, what you have been doing? And if you say no, that you would not pay yourself based upon what you're doing, it's time to make a change. It's time to make a change. Now, that change is not going to happen overnight. But what you at that point, what I would suggest is that you actually time block activities, time block and whatever it is that you do in regard to some sort of lead generation. And unlike old school days, I don't care what your lead generation is. All I care is that you do something. If your lead generation is you do nothing but social media or YouTube or whatever it is that you do, that you're doing it consistently and that you're committed to it. And your mindset has to be prepared for that. You also have to understand, again, in our business, odds are there's an awful lot of work that we have to do prior to actually receiving a check. More than likely, if you were to go out today and you were to sell a house today, you're probably not going to get paid today. You're going to have an awful lot of days where things, quote unquote, don't necessarily go, but either the way that you would like them, or a better way of saying it is you don't actually receive the results from your work, your hard work at that particular time. You have to, in my opinion, understand that. And you have to be willing to focus with your mindset to go through that. One of the things that a coach had actually initially taught me, it was years and years ago, was don't let your highs get too high. Don't let your lows get too low. Stay as evenly keeled as possible. Now, I know we're all human, so there's going to be bumps. It ain't going to be a flat line. But you can't dip low. I mean, just imagine, and we've all done this. You have that day where it looks like the escrow is going to fall apart, and your stomach sinks, and you fall, and your head starts hurting, and I don't want to do anything, and the day is over. And all of a sudden, you get a call. The problem was resolved. We're back on track, and now we're going to close sooner than we expected. And now you're jumping up and down, you're kicking your feet, you're going fast, and everything is whop, 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 whop. And then all of a sudden, you get a call or you drive by somewhere and you see a sign in the yard of somebody else, your friend, or someone that you were sold a home to, and now your stomach sinks. And now, why did that happen? You're like this. You're on a roller coaster all day long. That is such a draining, time-sucking experience for us, both mentally and physically, that you got to stay even as best as possible. You opening or closing 3 or 4 escrows, that's wonderful. You need 3 or 4 more. A few of them don't work out. That's okay. That's okay. Don't dump it. Don't dump it all on yourself as if you're a failure. You're not. You're not. It's just part of the process. So that being said, how does any of this stuff sound to you guys? Give me some feedback.
So I wrote down 3 different things here. One was awareness versus focus. And for me, that's very important. Yes, we have to be aware of the market, what's going on in that. But then once we've got that, we have to focus. And I was thinking back to Robin joined our team in 1993, and we were aware that the market was being driven by foreclosures. And so our focus was to go after, and I told her, I said, our goal is to get at least 3 lenders that will list their foreclosures with us. And so that was our focus during that time. And over the years, it switches. Like we haven't had foreclosures really in 5 or 6 years or more, prior to COVID, really. I mean, they're starting to come back a little bit now, but not, like they were. And then I wrote down the 1 week, write down everything that we do working in real estate. I'm a little scared to actually do that. But okay. And then to time block the activities. That was the other thing that I wrote down. I wanted to ask you something too. RJ and I have a listing together out in Ventura, and the owner bought the house a couple of years ago from a for sale by owner, paid $1 million, and probably paid too much for it, right, RJ? Did he pay too much?
Definitely.
Huh?
Yes.
Yeah, he paid too much for it. Anyway, we had it on the market for almost 6 months now, I think. And we got $100,000 price reduction, but it's still overpriced. We're at 1,195,000. And we had one offer he countered at 1,150,000. Those people didn't raise their. Then we got another offer, and which they've told us verbally that they would come up to 1,125,000, which nets him, after paying a 5% commission, it nets him more than what he paid for it. I think it's like $1,050,000 or something. So he walk away with 50 extra $1,000, and he doesn't want to hear it. But so we said, okay, are you going to rent the house out? Because he lives out of state. No. Are you going to move back into it yourself? No. So anyway, what would you say to someone like that?
I guess what I would do at that particular point is either revisit or open up I mean, why'd you put this house on the market to begin with?
Yeah.
And evict your pregnant daughter.
So I'm sorry, say it again, RJ.
He evicted his 7-month pregnant daughter out of the house to put it on the market, and now he doesn't want to sell it.
I mean, obviously there's a lot going on there, but in the most non-cruelest way that I could,
Yeah.
I would actually say, I'm sure, Mr. Seller, that unfortunately when you actually made the house vacant, when you went through the situation that you went through at that particular point, you really were trying to sell it. Am I correct?
Yeah. Right.
And I let him answer that. And then I would just say, and hopefully he says, well, he'll probably go into, oh, my daughter, with whatever all went on with that. And I let him get all that off of his chest, kind of let him get back into that type of a mindset, to be honest with you. And at that point, I would say, listen, I understand that. And I, the feel felt found. I understand why you're looking to sell. I can really see and feel what that situation would look like. That's got to be tough, what you're going through. But here's the deal, though. We now have a solution. We have a solution to where at the end of the day, you'll be done with this process. You'll actually net more money than what you did when you bought it. And I would probably throw in there, I mean, let's face it, the market is changing. Now, I don't know what change means. Meaning, for me personally, I don't believe that it's going to crash, but it's changing.
Right.
And during this change, of whatever direction that it goes, do you still want to have this particular property in your portfolio and or around your neck?
Right.
And if the answer to that is yes, then you probably should take it off the market and just do what you're going to do, or we can rent it, whatever it is you guys want to do with them, of course. Or, I had recently, and I had recently a client out in Acton, and the lady really needs to sell. Nice lady, she's in a really bad situation. She was a referral, et cetera, et cetera. I had the listing 6, 7 months, and we hadn't gotten any offers, got showings, all those types of things, all that stuff, right? And I had to make a decision, and I went over, and so when you make a decision, sometimes you have to be unattached to the outcome.
Right.
Was that at the end of the day, she needed to drop the price. We were at 879, and she needed to drop the price under 800. She needed to drop she needed to drop the price, and so now I had this thing 6, 7 months, and she had not listened to me previously on reductions. So I went to her and I basically apologized, old school wise. For those of you who've been around a minute, I apologized and told her I did her a disservice, that I priced her home incorrectly to begin with, and that I know I went all over her situation and what all she was going through. I understand that you need to sell this house. I know you don't really want to, but you need to. And we don't have a lot of time because she has some circumstances. So I said, so what I'm here to do is I'm here to put you in a position to sell, or I understand if you need to go in a different direction, meaning you need to list it with somebody else. And then she came back and said, well, can we list it at like 8:30? And I said no. I said no. I said because that's still not going to get you where you want to get to. I said, and once we listed at 8:30, which I didn't say this, but in my mind, I'm like, you're never going to go under 800 if I don't get you now.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've spent money marketing it. Yeah, you're nice. Yeah, you have a real situation, but if we're not going to do this, so anyway, long story short, with all that, she wound up listing with somebody else. She wound up listing with someone else at 8:30,
Mhm.
and a month later, guess what she did? A month later, she reduced it to 799, and now guess where she's at? She's in escrow. Now, the one side of me can look at, oh wow, I should have did this and did that, and I missed out on that possible closing. The other side of me was so happy to take my lockbox off of that house, get the sign down, and that I didn't have to be bothered with it anymore
Right.
because I wasn't attached to the outcome.
Yeah.
Because it was at that point, as nice as a person as she was and all that, and as much as her need to sell, she wasn't going to listen to me at that particular. At least she had proven so far she wasn't going to listen to me, and I had proven that to myself that it would play on my heartstrings. I really want to help this lady, and I'll give it a try. Well, I don't want to give it a try anymore. I want to get it sold. So hopefully now she closes and goes on and everything with her with her life. Um, but you know what? That was another 3 or 4 months or whatever it is that I'd have to be bothered with it.
Yeah.
And at 3 or 4 months, there are a few more homes that we got sold, listed and sold because the focus was on something else.
Right. Hey, I was just looking down here at the time. Elgin, it's
So
10 o'clock. You are a gentleman and a scholar, and I thank you so much for coming on and sharing with us. We're going to send this out to our entire team here. And uh, again, we just want to just bless you for giving of your time. I know you stepped away from a mastermind to be here today, and so we're really grateful for that. And yeah, you're a good dude.
no, thank you. We're all the same team. I
Yeah,
appreciate it.
that's
Whenever
right.
you guys need something, always feel free to reach out. I appreciate it. Send me a copy of it too, Rodney. And
Okay.
you
Yeah.
guys take care. Bless you guys. And hey, man, good mindset and keep selling stuff.
All right. Sounds good. Ready. All right.
Thank you.
All right. Bye bye.
Thanks, Elgin.
Thank you.